Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Ngozi Talk Shows family is Numsa here at Ngozi Talk Shows, Find Your Own Voice and Lead From Within. So today we've got Kamal Aima and Carol Ann Cooper, and our topic is all about the past, leaving the past behind. Carol Ann, you chose this topic. Would you mind if you can explain to our audience why you chose the topic and what do you think the benefits about leaving the past behind?
It's a good question. Benefits about leaving it behind. Yeah, I saw this topic about how to leave the past behind. That there was a question that I saw, a statement, and it's like, yeah, how do you leave the past behind? Because we so often have it with us all the time. It's like it runs in our head, it pops up, and then it creates a feeling, and without us actually being totally present to it. And so it got me thinking, how much of my past is still holding me back? So the benefit of being able to leave it in the past would mean I'd have a clear future in which to move forward. I'd have more freedom to move forward, because very often we project the past into the future. And we think because it happened then, it's going to happen again. Or it gives us that fearful feeling, and it just weighs us down. So I just thought, okay, let's breathe into this one. What a great one to explore, because I know there's certain things that keep creeping back at me and going niggle, 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 niggle. I'm thinking, yes, I haven't let go of them yet. I haven't left them in the past. And the one in particular that came to mind as I was looking through this topic last night was the realization I kept going back to. I have a regret that's come up around something that I got rid of out of my storage unit last year. At the time, it was like, no. And I downsized my storage unit, and everything went that I was happy to get rid of. And then everything else got put into a smaller unit. But a few months ago, I realized there was something that I wish I hadn't gotten rid of. And it keeps coming back. And it jiggles at me in my stomach and grips me. And that's my computer. Because a part of me goes, oh, maybe I could have just brought it back with me. And there's stuff on there that I maybe could have accessed. And now I've really got to let it go. And I'm struggling. I'm really struggling because there's that part of me that keeps going, oh, but if you'd have had access, if you hadn't done that. And so really, yes, I'd love to explore this. How do you leave that? You've made a decision, you've done something, it's in the past, let it go. So again, that sort of prompted this whole conversation. So Kamal, what are your thoughts?
I was thinking about what you're saying now, and you say let it go, and it's I mean it's easy at some point to say, oh, just let it go when you're not in the midst of it, and and when you think of it, the idea is how to let go. That's what we're here to talk about. And you spoke also about, you mentioned regretting something, and in a sense, regretting is something that is what holds people back when it comes to letting go of the past. Because regret, that means you are blaming yourself. You feel guilty. You feel ashamed of what you've done or what you could have done. And so it's as if you're reliving that past over and over and over again. And so what is the benefit of doing that, right? What's the benefit of looking behind you and, you know, the expression, right? Crying over spilt milk. And that's exactly what it, instead of just crying about it,
Yeah.
because the milk fell, you're just stabbing yourself in the heart, especially when they're painful memories, or it's something painful, something that you feel might have resulted in a different outcome. And yet, I'm a strong believer that whatever happens in our past is the only reason why we are the people we are today, or who we are today. And so regretting whatever happened back then means that you're not satisfied with who you are. If you're not satisfied with who you are, who do you want to become? And to become that new person, the point is accepting that past, because that past created you, that past made you who you are today. That unsatisfied person, whatever it may be in your life. And so now you made the decision and the choice that, well, I want to change, I want to move forward. And so the growth starts there. So how do you want to continue your life in a productive, fruitful, ambitious way, I would like to say, when you keep looking behind you and you keep pulling on that rope behind you, and then you have a whole wide array of different directions, different ropes, different roads to take. So yeah, that's my point. And I love that you chose this, because a lot of people unfortunately live in that past, live in that regret moment, live in that fear of, oh my God, I could have done it better. I don't know what to do now. And it only takes a moment to think, well, that's what happened. What do I do with the result now? And how do I improve myself and my future? What are your
Absolutely.
thoughts?
That's what's happened. That's what happened. And I love it. That's the point. It happened. There's nothing you can do about it. The past is the past. And as you say, it's like, what are you making it mean about yourself? And there's something you're not satisfied, or you're blaming yourself for something. It's a great point. And so how do I want to continue my life? Do I want to continue with that little that every now and again prods me in the stomach around that particular thought? And I am making myself wrong, and I'm making my daughter wrong as well, because she's the one going, oh man, but you can't, you won't be able to access it anymore, just let's get rid. And I got caught up. I'm blaming myself, feeling that I got myself caught up in oh no, it's okay, let's get rid. And I wasn't fully present to the possibility of, well, let's bring it back with us. Maybe I can access what's on there and lift it off and then get rid of it. And so I am making myself wrong, because I didn't stop and think. And actually, the niggle didn't happen until I suddenly thought, oh gosh, that's on my computer. I would love to get access to that. And actually, after a conversation with somebody who said that they hold on to old computers because it's got old versions of, say, Word or certain documents that they can access. And it was that had triggered in me, oh, maybe I could have accessed what was on that computer. And I allowed that conversation and that thought to start the niggle, because up to that point, I think I hadn't even, it's like, okay, it's gone. So certainly, do I want to be somebody that just keeps blaming myself and making myself wrong? Or do I want to be someone that goes, I chose in that moment, I decided, I chose whatever, I made a decision. And actually, the universe has a way of, whatever happens, it is actually the right. Else better will come in. And that's what I'm getting present to. Okay, I don't know what was on there. There's things that I think, well, I can't remember, and I would love to have access to, but maybe don't need them anymore. There's something greater that's going to happen, and I just need to not so much let it go, but be comfortable with who I am and what happened. And that's what I heard you say, Kamal, and thank you for that, because that's what happened. And no amount of thinking, oh, I wish I had it, I wish I'd done it, is ever going to bring it back. You know? And all it's done is take you away from the present moment. So yeah, it's just helping yourself to be present. So it's, how do you talk to yourself? Catch those thoughts, and can you then rephrase them in some way to help you move forward? Yeah.
I like that. I like that very much. Very good way of thinking.
Namsa, what are your thoughts on this?
I love what Kamal was saying, that when you have to when you let go of something, you don't have to live in regrets. And I think Carol, on what you did, I think you needed to have an intimacy. Did you throw away the computer, or you've got the computer?
Throw it away.
Okay, I think you needed to actually open the computer before you throw it away. You needed to take the computer home next time, open it and go through it, because I bent things. I bent my laptop last year. What I did was there was some pictures and some things that I have written my book. It was all in the computer. And I needed to leave the past behind. There's some things that I needed to, not to forget it, but I needed to separate myself from that past. But I went through the computer. First, I wanted to give it away, but then I decided, no, I'm not going to give it away. But I decided to create the fire, and I burned the fire. It took hours and hours for the fire to go out, and I'm not going to do that again. So it took a long time, but I think what made me happy was I went through the computer, and everything that was on that computer, I was so happy just to look at the memories. And I was like, now I need to let you go. And I've bent it. And I think that's what you needed to go, because there's some attachment there, that some things that you needed to actually look at it and say, you know what, out loud, that it's time for me to let it go. But at the same time, it's done. We can't go back to the past. Yes, we can't go back to the past. We can actually let it go by moving on completely. It's easy, like what Kamala was saying, it's easy to say, you know what, Carol Ann, let go without any regrets. But I think it is something that you're going to have to do some exercises and meditation in order for you to actually let go and then move forward. Because when you leave the chapter of your past, it's not easy. You're going to come to some agreement with you within, because that inner child needs to know that is being acknowledged, and moving on, like explain to yourself that I'm letting it go, and knowing that you don't have the regrets. Our feelings and our emotions are very, very important. Sometimes the people, they push them away or they try to ignore them, but there's going to be always something that is going to trigger that past to come back. But for me, everything that I have let it go, I've had to work through it and face it first. And when I face it, I pray about it or I meditate. And once I meditate, I'm happy to let it go, to acknowledge that I don't need to worry. This is the life that entered my life, whether that life was painful, whether that life was happiness. I I move on with it. I move on without it, and I never let it go. And also on YouTube, there are specific meditation that you can actually meditate. So I used to use those meditation to actually let go and break away from the past. And the other thing, if you want, you can burn. Once you burn something, it means you're separating yourself from that. But you're going to come to a point where you actually have a relationship with it first, and then you let it go, because those are memories that came into our lives, and I can't just come and say, you know what, Carol Ann, get over it. It doesn't work like that. I know there are some people that say just get over it, or women up or men up and stuff, but to be able to move on completely, and live in the present moment, it requires you to create those habits. For me, I've created the habits. I move on from the past very, very quickly. And also remember, before we let go of something, we grieve first. So you've grieved first before you got rid of your things in the storage without realizing. And you are in the stage of letting go, but you don't realize. Over to you, Carol.
State of grieving.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there is that loss. I feel I've lost something, or access to something that, yeah, and I guess that's a good point. There's some grief going on there, as well as make wrong and anger and all those emotions. And so, as you say, just face it and just keep putting out that prayer and meditate on it, so that I can become into this present moment. Because it is about being able to be in the present moment. Because when you are in the present moment, nothing else exists. And there is no upset, because you're just here. So practicing mindfulness, practicing being in the moment, is another way of being able to leave the past in the past. Because when you're in the present, you're certainly not in the past. And the past is not with you. Because all that's here is what's here. And one way of getting present is recognizing that you're ruminating about the past, about things that have happened in the past, or regrets you might have, or people that you've lost, or there's grief. And you could just feel it, as you say, feel it in your body, and recognize and go, oh, I'm not here in the moment. And so what you can do to get yourself present is just look around you and just keep looking and stopping every now and again and go, oh, that's a curtain I'm looking at. Oh, that's the window I'm looking at. And just give each thing a name or a label. Just keep looking around you and going, oh, there's a clock. And maybe say what's happening with the clock. There's a second hand that's ticking round. You know, it just keeps bringing you into the present moment. And then just go, well, what can I hear? What else can I hear? Well, I can hear voices. What else can I hear? I can hear a ting dong. You know, it's just, and it actually acknowledge what it is you hear. And you can feel yourself just becoming more and more present. And you can feel your body. There's something shifts with your body as you do that. And so once you're in the present moment, you can then ask yourself, okay, so what's here for me to do right now? What is it that I actually need to focus on? What action do I need to take? And from that point, you can then move forward. But unless you're in the moment, you're not, if you're held by your past, you can't speak. There's things that want to be said that the guy start croaking in your throat. It's like, let it. That's just because sometimes you can't let go. It is that will let it go, let it go. You can feel your body tightening up even more. I remember doing an activity in some educational kinesiology training I was doing about it to do with vision and different aspects of that. And one of the activities was about letting go. And I was holding on for dear life to this object that I was holding on to. And it did represent me letting go of something in the past. And we really give you it within educational kinesiology, you just get present to it in your body. And then we did some activities and some brain gym and some vision gym. And then after that, it was like, oh, okay, I can let it go. So doing, you don't need to know brain gym, you don't need to know vision gym. Do some meditation, do a prayer, maybe some tapping. There are lots of different things that you can do. Once you've got present to, oh, I really can't let this go. Do some of those activities and then do it again. Because being able to feel it in the body, again, helps you to feel and be able to move forward. What are your thoughts, Kamal? You've got some other ideas?
I'm absolutely on board. You started with the mindfulness bit, and this was the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to letting go. Mindfulness is one of the best ways to remember the present moment, to remember that we are here right now. Many techniques of mindfulness, besides meditation, there is grabbing a book and deciding to read just 1 page or 2 pages. It's remembering how you're breathing, to remember to breathe from your diaphragm, from your stomach, not your chest. A lot of people forget that they're like this. And if you make it a habit to breathe from your stomach, it becomes natural, right? And that reminds me, am I breathing correctly? And you start thinking just about your breath. Your consideration of letting go, that it's a game trick. There's part of NLP, right? Kinesiology, but it's not part of it, but it's representing what you want to let go with something physical, something material, and you do let it go, even if it's just a piece of paper and you write it down and you remember exactly what's written there and you drop it. It gives that sense of letting go with time, with repetition. I think one of the first things as well that one can do to alleviate that pain of that regret or that past that is hurting is focusing on the secondary gains that one achieves from what has hurt you. Sorry, I'm supposed to open a sweet here for somebody. Here, there you go.
Lovely, enjoy.
Thinking how that past is keeping you from the next relationship or the next event in your life that can be productive or fruitful. Are you considering, are you regretting because you didn't consider your own emotional pain, that you didn't face it back then? What kind of emotional pain are you in right now that's causing you to look behind? And looking at those emotions, talking to yourself, talking to somebody that can walk you through those past emotions. I mean, these are some of the things that I would recommend before jumping into mindfulness or anything else. And to make it as blunt, you mentioned that this is the present now situation, and it is what it is. And when you say it is what it is, you also mentioned that everything that happened in the past is for a good reason. The universe has a way of turning it around to be something beautiful. And we've talked about that several times. And as sad and as hurtful as it may sound, even the death of a close one, a loved one, has its benefits. You might not see it because you're in the middle of that puzzle. You're part of that centerpiece puzzle, and everything ahead of you, you can't see why. But that's not important. The important is to live that moment right now. Breathe, love that person. Remember the good deeds, the good things that you spent, that you had together. And some people might question, so what's the benefit of a child losing a parent when they're young, growing up without a parent? Well, you never know. Maybe that parent wouldn't have been a good parent. Maybe the universe has taken that parent away because they were going to suffer from disease or sickness, and the universe didn't want that child to grow and watch their parent that way. Maybe that person was not 100% healthy mentally, and some occurrence could have happened or would have happened in the future. We never know what the future might hold because we question, why is this happening to us now? We don't question, how is this event changing me now? How is this event making me who I want to be? And these are questions that are crucial for the growth, because we need to, well, I say need to remember that change is inevitable. It's constant. It is one of the constant things in this universe. As inconsistent as our lives may be, change is there. So you either get on top of the train or you're left behind. Well, I mean, another train will come by, but you never know when it will come by for you, right? Another thing that I'd like to share is loving yourself. Is something that my mentor used to say at the end of every session that we had. Be kind to yourself. Mm-hmm. And I'm quoting him now. We are our own harshest critics. And we forget to be kind to ourselves. End quote. Be kind. Love yourself. Prioritize yourself. Me favoritism. I think these are the first steps that one can take into that new perspective of the past. Like you, I had so many pictures. I traveled the world and I had pictures from different phones, from different cameras. I've only got like a bunch left. I've got some locations that I missed out on that no longer exist anymore. And I lost them because of whatever, a hard drive got ruined and I tried to extract them, lots of things. But those pictures, those images are not important. The memory of that location is still there. I can tell you exactly what happened on the day or the 2 days or the 3 days that I visited that location. I mean, I'm fortunate I have a partial eidetic memory, but I remember the location because I was present in that moment. I don't take a lot of pictures of my kids and myself. I don't need them. I don't need to remember those pictures. I don't need to see those pictures to remember. I'd rather spend my time with them instead of doing, hey, I'm taking a picture. Yes, I take silly pictures with them. Yes, we take cuddly pictures. But every now and then, That moment, this present right now, is what is important, and how it shapes your future.
Mhm. Yeah, very much so. And I love that. And that is being in the moment. When you just take a picture, you're being silly. It's like, okay, let's just capture the moment in that way. It's not something that you've gone, oh, I must take a picture. It's just something that happens. And that's beautiful, because, and it's nice because actually other people maybe don't have that same photographic memory or memory that you've got. And so a picture does help to sort of look back on. But being in the moment is important. And I love what you were saying about, yeah, things that happen, there is always a reason. And as hard as and upsetting it may be, I love that question that you said, or two of them. How is the event changing me now? And how is the event making me who I want to be? And I think those two questions are something to keep presencing yourself. If you feel really lost in that, or regrets, or something that's upsetting you about the past that's coming back to haunt you, ask yourself those two questions. Because what was it about that event? And I know this is what's helped me heal with a lot of things that have, with sort of through the trainings that I've done now, and gone back to past events and healed, and been able to see it, have a different perspective on it. Because it is about what you're saying to yourself about that event. And so being able to look back at it with a different perspective always helps that healing and able to let go. And there are some memories that I've got of incidents that I feel completely different about. I feel at peace with. And if that memory comes back again, that incident, it's because there's another angle on it for me to heal. And this was something I was always amazed at every time I'd go back to it. As certain memories, it was like, oh, but I've already been back here before. And I go, okay, so just trust the process. This memory has come back up for a reason. And I would always be amazed. And it's lovely because it's like, oh, it's a different angle on it. So for example, one memory, I was like, at the time I couldn't believe what I was seeing. So that was something I started healing. Another time I went back, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And then another time it was like, I couldn't believe what was physically happening to me. And so those are three particular things that I remember, different angles on that particular incident. There were some other times I've been back to it and other angles on it. But now I feel really at peace. And I've been able to forgive that person and move on. And there's something within my body that feels at peace. And so physically, it helps with healing. Because if you're holding on to upset, anger, resentment, or whatever it is, or even regret, it will show up in your physical body in some form of illness. Because there is nowhere else for that emotion to go, that pain, that emotion. And so dealing with the pain, dealing with the emotion will help your body to heal as well. So another activity that you could do is actually just journaling, writing about it. And it's something I do with writing. I support people with their writing to become more productive with their writing by connecting them with their deeper innate ability to write. And so that they can actually write their story. But what I've also realized is that there's a healing journey that happens through that writing. And I've started to do some more research about healing through writing, or writing to heal. And it's like, oh my goodness, there's a whole lot of research out there and people talking about it. And there is somebody did a research project where they actually, they had a couple of groups wrote about what happened, And there was one group that didn't do any writing. And over time, what they found was the two groups that did the writing visited the doctor far less than those that didn't do the writing and didn't do the healing. And I'm going, wow, this is like, so I'm just starting to sort of explore into that, because what's also showing up is people that I'm working with, and one lady in particular. So like yesterday morning, she messaged me to say, oh, I can't join the group. I'm still in bed. I'm in pain. I said, join us. Even if you're laying down, write. Just write from the pain. So she joined us. And by the end of the session, she was up. The pain was reduced. She was able to walk. So it's starting to show up. So this is why I'm starting to research this more. So journaling is, it's like brings you into focus.
It's my camera. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
It's gorgeous. No,
sorry.
But it actually prompted that thought, because writing and journaling brings things into focus and allows you to then heal from that point. It's magic. So I love what happens. It's always
it's always a reason behind things.
Yeah.
No, but when you're mentioning the writing skill, because this is if my understanding is correct, this is probably the same part of the brain that has you visualizing things. They did several tests on basketball players, on football players, on golf players, where a group of them were just visualizing potting a hole or shooting a hoop or scoring a goal, and others that were doing the event itself and practicing the event itself. After a certain period of time, those that were visualizing in their minds had better results in real life. And the other thing that they tested is that they realized that the same area where you are practicing that movement for scoring or shooting a hoop is the same area of the visualization, except in the visualization.
Yeah.
The act can be done so fast and so slow, and you can change the outcome and you can play around with it and make it as realistic as possible. And the same thing is, I believe, is with the writing, because when you're writing about your pain, in a sense, you're getting it out from that area that it hurts, and you're talking about it. And when you're talking about it, like you're saying it to yourself, and then you're writing it down. So you have the physical movement, and then you read it again while you're writing it. So it's a whole repetition of that. I could be mistaken, so don't take my word for it, but I believe it's the same area of the brain where these functions are occurring. And it's
a good point. Yeah, so maybe it's something to look into. I'll bear that in mind. But yeah. So you're going to say something else?
Now I was going to give it to Nomsa, see what she thinks.
Is she still with us?
Is she still here? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, sorry, I thought you dropped out.
Yeah, I'm still here. My system, I don't know. My system is not working with me today. So,
oh, bless.
Hey, Ngozi Talk Shows family. Sorry, guys, I've not been replying to your messages on the live. Love you guys, Uganda. We love you. And LinkedIn family and YouTube family. So coming back to the topic, I love what you guys have been saying about letting go and stuff. I think it's very, very important to actually acknowledge our emotions and also acknowledge the past, and then accept those emotions, accept what you're feeling. If it's the feeling of sadness, if it's the feeling of joy, if it's the feeling of hurt about what happened, don't worry about pushing the feelings away, aside, pretending that those feelings don't exist, and allow yourself to feel your emotions and then process them through them, go through them. One by one, whatever your feelings, if it's the heart, you need to go through them, because it might be something, because sometimes we let go in the physical, but then in the spirit realm, things still exist. So you have to cut the cord. In order to cut the cord is facing the situation, facing your feelings without making you wrong, without making your feelings wrong. And once you do that, you cut all that, like Carol Ann, you talk about brain gym exercises. You can use brain gym exercises and writing. I'm a big fan of writing. Okay, here, this is I have so much pens. I've got loads of pens in front of me. Sometimes pens, they stop working. I love writing. Sometimes before I type something, I have to write it on paper. That's how I work. And it helps my brain to think. If I do that, if I write it down, I don't forget it. Not just by going back to look. Once I write something down, I have a relationship with it. It goes inside of me, inside my brain, and then I type it. It's a big difference. I can feel the feelings even when I'm typing something. It doesn't make sense. If I just go straight to the computer and then start typing, but if I hold my pen and write it down, and I don't have to write the whole thing. Sometimes if I write the first paragraph or maybe second paragraph or just the heading of what I'm doing, it stays with me. So I think writing somehow, Kamal, you're right, is very, very important to write down, journaling things. And of course, when you're journaling things, you're not really ignoring. You come to a point where you'll be able to identify the triggers. When you are writing something, or the feelings, or the places, or telling a story on that journal, you'll be able to see whether you've moved on from those feelings or you haven't moved on from the feelings. And then if you haven't, you have to learn to accept them and create a new association memories of it. And that don't involve your past. You let go, and then once you let go, you say whatever you want to say to it, and you let it go. For me, when I was growing up, my mom divorced when I was 8 months old, and they both remarried. So I was fine, had a good upbringing, but when I got older, starting to have a relationship, it started affecting me. But then I wrote a book about my childhood, my biography. But then when I wrote a book after that, my dad died. When Kamal was saying sometimes people die for a reason, but my dad died, he was killed, and somebody put poison on his food. So he went to the hospital, and the doctors told him that they couldn't drain the poison, and it spread everywhere, so he died. And those memories, for me to actually get rid of that event, it took me about 3 years, because I was like, if it was meant to happen, why did it happen to me? Because I was so close to my dad. That's why sometimes I always say the good memories are the ones that hurt the most. But I went through them. I wrote my biography, and after I wrote it, I did the process of publishing everything, and did some inquiries and sent the copy to my house, went and posted a copy to my house to myself, and all the procedure that needed to publish the book. And after I realized I didn't need to, I realized that those memories, they were mine to cherish. And if I was to write a biography book, it would be a different one, not the one that I wrote. So after I realized that I was going to burn that book, that biography, and burn the computer that I've written through it as well, I printed it and I burnt everything. And that was me moving on, the memories. And since I've done that, when I go and look at my dad's pictures, I smile. There's a smile in my face. Like, I'm like, you, like, I just look at him and I'm like, God, look, watch over him. Because those memories were the memories that really, really helped me. When you're close to someone, you don't want to let them go. And I had to identify the triggers as well. There were times where when my family makes a comment, I'll feel like they're trying to take my father's place. And so once I wake to those memories, the triggers, the past, then you let it go. Now, when somebody talks about my dad and tell me that they love me and they would like to spend time with me, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I accept it. But before I'll be like, are you trying to be my dad?
Oh,
So, because those were the things that we used to do together. So, but now if my family, my dad's cousins or siblings comes and say, Noms, I want to spend time with you, or they call me, I accept it, or they talk about my dad. It's memory that I talk about with joy, but before I'll talk about it, I'll get angry. And so you have to practice the self-care, like Kamala was saying as well. Loving yourself is very, very, very important. You have to love yourself and put yourself first. And because if we hold on to pain end up, I was getting sick all the time, Carol Ann, like what you were saying, that when you don't let go of the past, because my dad and my stepdad were like my best friends to me. Even my mom, like, she knew, like, when they both died, and she was like, I don't know how she's gonna cope, but I managed to cope just. But I was visiting the doctors like every week, like the cold and everything. But 10 years ago, once I decided I'm gonna get rid of these hurting memories and let it go completely, I don't go to the doctors anymore. And I don't miss it either. I don't go there anymore. So I think self-care and mindfulness is very, very important. And also holding on to the hurt and anger or whatever the past, it just destroys you inside. It's exhausting. I don't know how people cope. For me, it's like, I don't want to go back there. It was so painful. And like Kamal was saying, losing people, for me, I seem to be losing the people that were like, they cared for me, that raised me up. The only person that is left is my mom. Everybody's gone. And I was like, God, why do you have to take these people? And then I realized that I need to cherish these good memories that I had with my family and with my friends. And those memories, now when I look at the pictures, I just smile. I know they're in a good place.
I think it's also remembering that, and I think it ties in with something Kamal was saying earlier about when you lose a loved one or something happens, and it's like, why? There's also that aspect that was their life. Maybe they've done all that they were meant to do here in this lifetime, and we sort of make it wrong that they've gone and so say left us. That I do believe that we come into this world, we choose our parents knowing when they're going to go, knowing what's going to happen to us, and therefore we know that at some point along the line they are going to go and what's going to happen, but it's not a conscious knowing. That's the thing. So when it actually happens, it's like, oh. But I think that's part of being here in this physical form. It's part of what we've come to learn, because I believe we are all one. When we're spirit and soul, we are all one, and therefore we don't know that separation, the loss. We don't experience it. So we've come here to experience those emotions, those loss, the physicality. That's what's come to me, and that's what I believe. who knows, maybe something else is out there for me to learn around this as well. But as I say, this is what's come to me over my journey of diving in, and the learnings that have just, as I say, just come to me through the healing. So this can help you just let go of somebody, because it's like, okay, that's their journey. That's the end of what they've meant to be doing here, and it's their time to go. And I think that can help you just to let go, because when you're upset, you're making all about you, and you're making them wrong for leaving you. It's like it becomes all about you. And so, yes, there is, as you were saying, Kamal, there's something about self-care and looking after yourself, but that's different to making something all about you in terms of making someone else wrong. So just, that to explore. Some angle that I'm sort of like to look at now is actually, there's a quote that I saw, is holding on to something that was good for you in the past is probably the very reason you don't have something better. And how many times do you hear someone say, oh, the good old days, or it was better then? You hang on to that because it was good then. You're not allowing yourself to move on. And what you can do is just make new memories. Step into the future going, well, okay, so how could I make this better? How could this be as good, if not better, than it was then? Because this happened around Christmas time a few years ago. My daughter was always going on about how Christmas used to be when she was growing up, and the activities we used to do, the traditions that we had. And there was a sort of a hankering. There was an upset because we don't do it anymore. Family isn't around like it was then. It's completely different. And we don't have the gatherings that we used to have. So I said to her, what you need to do is make your own memories. Christmas was as it was when you grew up. This is different for you and your children now. So you create something different and make new memories. And I feel it's allowed for what used to be great memories of Christmas and how it used to be and it was good, to be let go of, and creating new memories and enjoying the present moment when we're in Christmas now, because we're making Christmas something different. So again, how can you apply that to situations that you're in where, you're thinking, well, it was good then, but by hanging on to that, you're not allowing yourself something better. So forgive yourself, acknowledge the good times, stand in gratitude for them, be grateful, and then be grateful for what could now come from there. And say to yourself, well, what could I now do that would make this a better time, would make this a good time right now? So that's another aspect of being able to leave the past behind. Because again, there's that angle. What do you think, Kamal?
I like that angle very much, because it's a reminder that, I mean, it's the same way that I think of past situations. It took me a while to get to this point where it's not that I don't care, it's that, okay, what can I do about it? Mm-hmm. What is this situation or this event teaching me? I don't remember if I've mentioned this, but like around November last year, it is last year, yeah, even though it's 4 months away. I was in a car crash. It wasn't that fatal. It's just like it came into the side of the car, but the car is total because it's an old version that they don't create anymore, so can't use it anymore. I came out fine. My son came out fine. Nothing at all. And I was 100% sure it wasn't my mistake. I didn't come out angry to the other guy. I didn't yell. Probably because of the shock. And then when we went home afterwards, still wasn't angry. Still thought of it as probably had to let it, like the car had another, maybe, I don't know, another 5-6 years to live. Now I have to buy a new car, but it's okay. Maybe this car just had to go. There's something remaining there that needed to let go. Maybe the other person that also wrecked his car, whether honest, dishonest, he had a lesson to learn. Maybe the lesson is for both of us. There's an old story that is taught in Muslim countries. It's a very interesting story with regards to life and what happens. So Prophet Moses, one of those days, he was meant to meet with a supposedly very, very wise messenger of God, another messenger, right? And the story goes that he finds that man and he asks him, tells him, look, I've been told that you are very wise and you have some glimpses of the future, but so I would like to follow you so that you teach me something of that knowledge and that guidance that you have so that I am closer to God, which obviously are things that God has taught you. And he said, so the other person said, you will not be able to be patient with me because you cannot have patience of something which you know nothing about. And so Moses answers, if God so wills it, you will find me patient. I will not disobey you at all. So the other man says, okay, then follow me and don't ask me about anything until I mention it to you. And so they both go on their journey and they find a ship on the shore. And so that person, his name is Kidr, he punctures it, he makes a hole in it. And so Moses asks him, why did you ruin the boat? Like, is it to drown the people? This is probably something that is not good, like it's a bad deed. You have sinned in the eyes of God. And so Kidr tells him, no, I asked you not to question me. And I told you you would not be patient. So Moses answers and he says, I apologize. I forgot myself and you will not find me impatient again, and I will continue and I will leave you to your affairs. Please bear with me. So they go along and they meet a boy, and messenger Kidr, he kills the boy. And Moses tells him, how could you kill an innocent person? This is one of the biggest sins. How do you consider yourself a messenger of God? And Kidr tells him, didn't I tell you would not be patient with me? And then Moses answers, look, I'm so sorry. If I ask you anything more again, I will leave your company and you will receive no excuse from me. And so they proceed one more time to a town and to a house, and they ask these people for food, but the people, they refuse to give them the food. And within that place, right, they found a collapsed wall. And then Kidr, the messenger, raised the wall up and he put it up straight and fixed it. And so Moses asks, if you wished so, you surely could have taken money out of that wall that you built. And so Kidron answers him, this is our parting way. I told you, you will not be patient, but let me give you the interpretation of these actions that we were doing. The ship belonged to poor people working in the area. And the ship belonged to poor people that live in the area and that they work at sea. Yes. And so I wanted to damage that ship for them, that boat, because there's a king that is after them and who wants to seize their ship by force. As for the boy, his parents were believers. And we feared that the child would oppress them and be rebellious and become a disbeliever. So the intention of God was to take him away so that to spare his parents and grant them mercy. As for the wall, it belonged to two orphan boys in this town. And under it, there's a treasure that belongs to them. And their father had left it, and he was a righteous man. And so God intended that they should attain when they get their age at 18 or their full strength, become men, that they can take that treasure as a gift from God. And so, since you did not listen to me, we can now part ways. On that story, it has so many moral values in it, so many things that one can learn. But one of the greatest things to understand is that we do not know what the future holds for us. We do not know the intentions of whether you believe in God or the universe or the entities, whatever it is. We do not know the rest of the puzzle. We do not know why things are happening. But everything that happens for a reason. For you, for somebody you know, or somebody that you don't know. There's a pattern, there's a reason for everything. I know I took a lot of time, but this story was very, very important because it gathered everything that we've been speaking about. So yeah, these are my thoughts on what you were saying, Caroline.
I love it. I love it. I'm going, oh my goodness, yes. And how often do we question when something happens? And I know that I've been told through this journey, patience. And I know many years ago, I was given that message, patience, because I was asking and screaming and shouting at the Lord, and I heard patience in my head, and it was like, F patience, I want it now. I've learned to be more patient with it. But there's still a but, because even now there's times when I'm going, but how much more patient do I have to be? So maybe I just need to stop questioning. I know that from what that story that you've told, there is just trust. Is the other one. It's patience and trust are my biggest lessons. So just keep trusting that it is something that is happening. There is a bigger picture, and you will get to know. So thank you for sharing that. It was beautiful. Well done for remembering it. It's like, whoa.
I'll send it to you later on. It's a beautiful story.
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing the story, Kamal. Because things do happen in our lives for a reason, and it's like there's so many things that have happened into my life as well that I don't question them. Like Carol Ann talks about patience and having hope. That's what I do when things go wrong. And then after that, it's like I told you, Carol Ann, that I got fed up with my university. And one day I was sitting on the table and I was like, I've grieved enough. I've been talking to these people and they're not listening. But I think then I found myself within a second, I had applied to another university to actually exchange all my qualifications, to transfer my qualifications. And they agreed. And now I'm studying something that I didn't mean to. I'm getting qualifications that I didn't mean to. It was never something that I wanted to study for. I was hoping that when I finish one day, I will start those qualifications. And when I finish, when the woman was doing the assessment, she was like, oh, we can give you this level and then you finish these qualifications. Those were the qualifications that are meant to do the 1 year, maybe later, think about it when I have the time. But I'm finding myself being like having to first to do everything all at once. So I was like, I don't know what happened, but I think everything happens for a reason. But the part that I don't like is applying for student finance. Is too much effort, and so it's too much effort. But is sometimes the things happen for a reason, and when you're going through something, sometimes in order for you to go through the light, you have to go through darkness. Some people give up just as they're about to go behind the curtains of success. So that's why it's very, very important to leave the past behind without any regrets. It doesn't matter whatever you've been through in life. I've seen people, I watch on YouTube, people, what they've been through and the amazing things that they're doing in life at the moment, like the success. But they found that success through pain. So you can actually rise above that pain. Whoever is watching, if you're going through something, you can arise through that. And for me, I am the example of, I grew up in Africa. My family have 2 homes, village and the city. I'm not a city child. I don't like living in the city. I like living in the farm with my family in the village. And my mom took me anyway when I was 14, but I lived with my dad and my grandparents. I enjoyed life there. I am just a village girl. And when I went to the city, I realized I couldn't fit in. I love climbing trees. I don't like getting dressed up and making it. I love looking good, but as a child, I loved, maybe I was a boy or a girl or whatever you call it, but I loved climbing trees. I loved kicking the ball. I loved all these things, that normal things that people take for granted, to grow like in the farm. I love growing everything. So, and living that life and coming to the UK, I always believed my dad is the one always planting the seeds to me that, Nomsa, you can be who you want to be. And I've traveled and I've educated myself. I refused to go to secondary school. I started traveling and I've educated myself to a higher level, and which is, my parents are very proud because they trusted my decisions, that instead I'm choosing to travel, I'm choosing to become who I want to become. And at the time I was really young, and there were so many things that happened through that life, but the past, I've been able to cut the code and move on with my life. And there were things like some people that took advantage of me in the process. I'm able to forgive them and financially and move on with my life. And those are the things that, if those things did not happen, I don't think I would have been to where I am today. And those things, they teach us something. And my relationship, the broken relationship, finding joy, I don't think I would have I don't think I would have got into psychology. I think I would have left football and go to something sports again, or maybe become a coach or referee or something, maybe. But I just got intrigued by psychology when my life wasn't working. And that's why I'm here today at Ngosi Talk Shows. It's all through the journey and finding joy. Through pain, you find joy. And when you find joy, you find a way to actually keep moving, because there's a light out there. So if anyone is watching, be somebody who is willing to find the light. God, I don't know what everybody believes in anything. For me, I don't fight problems. I don't question, why am I going through this? Why me? I say, God, whatever you have in store for me. I don't know whatever I'm learning, but I'm gaining strength, and show me the way. My way is not working. Show me the way for me to move forward. And I find myself with a life that I didn't expect, the beautiful life. What things that I didn't actually start to say I'm going to do it, and I find myself in this beautiful life. So you can do that, whatever pain you're going through. The only thing you cannot do is I have to put up with the pain. Tell me, where does it say in the Bible, in the dictionary, where it says it's okay to put up the pain? You don't need to put up the pain. You have to break through from it and then move on, move forward, find good people. Here at Ngosi Talk Shows, Kamau, life purpose coach. Carol Ann, she's a writing facilitator. Writing facilitator is somebody who helps you to use more your brain. She's not just saying, oh, you want to write a book. What's been stopping you? What's been doing this? So I'm going to find. No, she goes deep, really deep. I worked with her and finding myself, like, the things that I love to do with trigger. She was triggering my memories. And things worked. And now I'm doing the things. When I go music, I write things down, or I do some other things just to help me enjoy my life. And we have more coaches, grief coaches, we've got mindful coaches, self-love coaches. So if you are somebody that feels that the world is against me, it's not. Unfortunately, in order for you to find a breakthrough, you have to face challenges. And then when you do face challenges, you find a way to actually pull through and go to the other side where there is beauty. So these coaches, they've gone through that pain, and you can choose who you want to work with and get in touch with our coaches. You can go to the website Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency, www.hseia.com, and send me a message and or email me, or you can ring my office. Either way, whatever works for you, and just find your own voice. Don't say, I'm not going to find my own voice because at the moment I'm not in the right place. You're never going to be comfortable to take task. Just get on with it. And that's why I always say, get on with it. And the other side, you have miracles waiting for you. And Kamau, before we leave, would you guys quickly, and Carol Ann, like to tell the audience who you are and where they can find you? I've already told them they can find you through me. And also you guys, they have social medias as well. And by the quickest way, if these guys don't reply, I am constantly there. So you can just connect with me. I have their numbers, I have their emails. I just connect you with them if it's whatever is easier for you.
Ladies first, Carol Ann.
Oh, bless you. Well, I did share what I do. And so really, as the writing facilitator, I was sharing earlier, I do. And so where people can get hold of me is on Facebook. Caroline Cooper. LinkedIn, you can find me on there. And I also have a Facebook group called Get Your Book Written. So do come and seek me out and come, let's have a chat and, see how I can help you with your writing, your healing through writing, whatever it is that you'd like to explore. Kamal?
You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, and on something else. LinkedIn. This is my current website. The other website is being rebuilt and reconstructed. I am a life purpose coach. And what do? I help people, especially mid-management, create a foundation to a life of purpose, a life where they can uncover the purpose that they want in their life. Through the aid of NLP techniques and ancient Egyptian methodologies. Why ancient Egyptians? Because they were the kings and queens of living with purpose. And so I have taken some of their teachings, added it onto NLP teachings, and created a bunch of things together to make out this 14-week course where I teach you how to live a purposeful life, where I teach you to uncover your purpose. And that's about it.
Yeah, thank you so much. And Carol Ann, you've reminded me, yes, Ngozi Talk Show, we do have a group as well, don't we? Yeah, so you can join Ngozi Talk Show's group, or you can join a unique, we have another group called the Unique Billionaire Mindset as well. So Unique Billionaire Mindset, you can put yourself out there. Ngozi Talk Shows, people don't put they just put post, normal post, but Unique Billionaire Mindset, you can advertise your business, but in a psychological way, using psychology, not direct. So we allow that. So if you are a business person and you want to be part of our family, join Ngozi Talk Shows, and then you join Hope Springs. Unique Billionaire Mindset is under Hope Springs Eternal Introduction Agency and Ngozi Talk Show. And then you can actually post what you do. And so you can gain customers there, who knows? So just follow us, guys. And if you're on YouTube, on our channel, please subscribe to our channel, be part of us, and Ngozi Talk Show's page, like our page, and give us some stars so we can reach more people in our community as well. We are here Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time, so you can check us out every day, and sometimes every now and then I broadcast for 10 minutes or 5 minutes on my own in the evening. So have a good weekend, guys, and God bless, and live with grace. Remember, find your own voice and lead from within.